And now we end our 5 rhythms practice by moving into stillness. Just allow yourself to be still with the music. For the spirit section or the musings section of today's Channeling the Muse, we are going to be listening to relaxing music while we digest more information on the world, knowing that there's nowhere to go and nothing we have to do except be here now. I am going to end the program with a public service announcement. I hope you all will stay for that. But I wanted to say that the public service announcement was triggered for me by more and more of my acquaintances living full catastrophe lives, meaning that what is going on in the world is starting to affect us here in the Happy Valley. One friend has a friend in New Zealand where an earthquake just happened as this airs in the end of February. Another friend is looking at union discontent in her own environment. Another friend wrote me this that I share with you because it is so full of the power of now, but also has such great heart attached to it. This friend who is writing is a worker in New York City. Hi. Just now voted to cut funding to Planned Parenthood, our Congress did. She quotes from a Huffington Post article. What it doesn't mention is that the funding of the Office of Adolescent Health is also included. That's my funding for my program. Fortunately, even if the Senate approves the cuts, it would have to be signed by the president, which won't happen. He proposed the original budget, which included funding for both Planned Parenthood and funding to create the Office of Adolescent Health. But the sucky thing about it all is that abortions are just a fraction of what Planned Parenthood does. It provides slavering anti-abortion activists a convenient target. The other sucky thing is that there is study after study after study, all boiled down to easy-to-read one-page fact sheets that even a bone-headed Republican could understand, showing that a lack of preventative care and health education costs taxpayers billions of dollars in future health care and other government-assistant costs. Here, I'll pull out one of my handy fact sheets published by the National Campaign to Prevent Teen Pregnancy. Fact: teen childbearing in the United States costs taxpayers, federal, state, and local, at least $9.1 billion in 2004. Fact: most of the costs of teen childbearing are associated with negative consequences for the children of teen mothers. These costs include $1.9 billion for increased public sector healthcare costs, $2.3 billion for increased child welfare costs, $2.1 billion for increased costs for state prison systems, and $2.9 billion in lost revenue due to lower taxes paid by the children of teen mothers over their own adult lifetimes. Fact: the public sector costs of young teens, those aged 17 and younger, having children, are particularly high. These births account for $8.6 billion of costs, an average of $4,000 per mother annually. It's all so simple that it's heartbreaking. Heartbreaking to be a citizen of the U.S. On a positive note, I called my representative on Wednesday. It felt good, though fat lot of good it did. But it was a great reminder that you can actually call your representative and someone will answer the phone and talk to you. You can do it too. As I said, that is an email from a friend who is facing all of the political consequences settling in her lap with her job and her salary. What I have been doing for years and years and years listening is listening to my inner spirit and sharing a very specific prayer. My specific prayer, I worked very, very hard over the years to hone the exact words I wanted to use, and here it is. Visualize industrial and corporate, conservative, religious, and political collapse and decomposition, human spiritual evolution, and a whole earth. I'm going to say that one more time quickly. Visualize industrial and corporate, conservative, religious, and political collapse and decomposition, human spiritual evolution, and a whole earth. I'm going to take us now through an opportunity to use those words and really explore them with me. If you want to visualize this, go to www.visualthesaurus.com and you will see a lovely opportunity to look at words and what their roots are and how they branch out into synonyms. So what is visualize? Well, according to the dictionary, it means to recall or form mental images or pictures, to make visible, to form a mental image of, to make perceptible to the mind or the imagination. Some of the synonyms for visualize are anticipate, apprehend, envision, envision, feature, foresee, imagine, fancy, envision. I chose visualize. What is collapse? According to the dictionary, a falling in or together, as in 3 miners were trapped by the collapse of the tunnel roof. Definition number 2, a sudden, complete failure or breakdown, as in the bribery scandal brought about the complete collapse of his industrial empire. Synonyms: disintegrate, catastrophe, destruction, disruption, exhaustion, cataclysm, languish, to give way or founder, happening, natural event, to tumble, crumble, crumple, or break down. I chose from all those synonyms collapse, a sudden, complete failure or breakdown. What about decomposition? It is the opposite of composite, from the Latin compositus, the past participle of componere, to put together. So I want to pull apart, decompose. Synonyms are dissolution, corruption, division, decay. Interestingly, in science you can have chemical decomposition reactions, and disintegration is another synonym. I chose decomposition. Spiritual is defined as pertaining to or consisting of spirit, incorporeal, or pertaining to the spirit or soul as distinguished from the physical nature, as in a spiritual approach to life. Definition 3 of spiritual: closely akin in interests, attitude, outlook, as in the professor's spiritual air in linguistics. Definition 4, of or pertaining to spirits or to spiritualists, supernatural. Definition number 5, characterized by or suggesting predominance of the spirit, or delicately refined, as in, she is more of a spiritual type than her rowdy brother. And last, of or pertaining to the spirit as the seat of the moral or religious nature. Synonyms for spirit are metaphysical, intangible, ethereal, platonic, ghostly, refined, divine. I chose spiritual. What about evolution? Evolution comes from the Latin evolutio, an unrolling or an opening. Any process of formation or growth, development, the product of such development. And interestingly, under the word evolution is another phrase if you go to that thinking mind thesaurus, which is phylogenesis. We're going to get back to that in a moment. What is whole? According to the dictionary, comprising the full quantity, amount, extent, number, without diminution or exception, entire, full, total, as in, they ran the whole distance. Definition 2, containing all of the elements properly belonging. Definition number 3, undivided, in one piece, as in, to swallow a thing whole. We go on to a mathematical meaning as integral, not fractional, to be not broken, damaged, or impaired, intact, uninjured, unharmed, sound, pertaining to all aspects of human nature, especially one's physical, intellectual, and spiritual development, as in education for the whole person. Synonyms are accomplished, concentrated, organization, aggregation, combination, conclusive, consummate, unhurt, unscathed, hail, unanimous, unharmed, all, wholly, complete, entirely, totally, intact, integral, entire, full. And what of that last word in my affirmation? Earth. Noun. Often initial capital letter. The planet third in order from the sun, having an equatorial diameter of blah 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 and a polar diameter of blah blah blah. Number 2, the inhabitants of this planet, especially the human inhabitants, as in the whole earth rejoiced. Definition 3, this planet as the habitation of humans, often in contrast to heaven and hell, as in to create a hell on earth. The surface of this planet, to fall to earth. Synonyms: creation, universe, surface, cosmos, planet, land, dry land, world, terra firma, and as I said, I would like to come back to one of the words for evolution, which was phylogenesis, because if you remember, my affirmation that I say is visualize industrial and corporate, conservative, religious, and political collapse and decomposition, human spiritual evolution, and a whole earth. Phylogenesis is a very scientific term for evolution. It comes from the Greek for phylon. Phylon is tribe, and phylogenesis is considered our family tree. So I'm going to end this show with a recommendation for you all. It is an amazing book, a science fiction book written by a woman in 1997. Sherry S. Tepper wrote Family Tree. Here's a little bit about the book. Sherry S. Tepper reveals in Family Tree a funny bone not apparent in much of her earlier work. At times, chock full of giddy puns, at others, delightfully self-aware, this novel still has serious Tepper at its core. It's just that the moralizing doesn't hit you full force until after you've been softened up by the story's central mystery and by one doozy of a visual gag. Family Tree begins unhappily, goes for the laughs in the middle, and ends with the liberation of the righteous. So, get thee to a library and enjoy Family Tree. You're never going to see it as a movie because it will not translate to the screen. Get it while you can. And on that note, we end this week's Channeling the Muse, sticking to our format of mind, body, and spirit medicine during very, very intense times until 2 weeks from now. And we end with a public service announcement and some more music for you all. Enjoy. Our public service announcement today is somewhat temporally related, so this is